What up, y'all? I'm back. This is another episode of Black Nerd Fridays right now. My co-host is running late, and my other co-host is not going to be here today. But you know how we do. We always rock out. It's Black Nerd Fridays. We're going to hold it down as we normally do. Today, we are discussing something that is dear to me as a kid and as an adult. You know, I got my opinions, which we're going to get into later as well. But we having that conversation. So today is He-Man, Masters in the Universe, I should say, Revelation. This is season 2 or part 2, as they call it. So we're going to get into that today. And we actually have a special guest, and I'm not going to bring him on just yet. I'm going to talk about what I have to drink first. Because as always, you know, we do sci-fi, we love anime, we love manga, we love the comics, we love all of that, the anime. But what do we really love? We love craft beer. So, of course, I have, since we're talking about Masters in the Universe, and you have some I'm gonna say scientific chemistry sort of stuff going on, some magic. Listen, what if beer ain't magic and science, then what is? This is Equilibrium and Magnified Brewing 400X. This is a double IPA, 8.55%, and it's gonna be hitting. I love this joint, so we're gonna talk about that. But since my co-host is running a little late, let me go ahead and introduce this special guest. This brother, he is known for cosplaying some of the cast members from He-Man, has been doing it for a while, and definitely has a very, very dope outfit and stuff. Today he doesn't have it on, but it's all good. We just, shooting shit and do as we normally do. Let me introduce the special guest, the brother Claude Xavier Cosplay. What's going on, brother?
Hey, not much. Happy to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So, as I said before, we drink on good stuff. I know you got something right now. Show the world what you're sipping on right now.
Yeah, I got this Daiquiri King, what we have in San Antonio, the drive-through spots. I couldn't tell you what's in it. I just know it's good.
Hey, listen, it's all good. It's all good. We respect it and we love it. And like I said before you came on, I understand about the daiquiris. I understand the roots of it. So it's all good, man. I already know what it is. Now, you don't know what's in there, but what does it taste like? That's a good question.
I'm trying to think of the two flavors. It's watermelon and I can't remember the other one. I think she put pina colada in there, which I didn't ask for.
Ooh, okay.
So that's why it's not quite tasting like I thought it was going to taste.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I never remember the other flavor. But right now I think it's watermelon and pina colada.
That's what's up, man. That's definitely sounding good for real. So before we talk about He-Man, let's talk about your experience. What got you into specifically that cartoon and that show and cosplaying as a character? Let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I was born in 79, so pretty much an 80s kid and watching He-Man. We only had one TV at the time. You know how you fighting over the TV.
Yep.
You got to
Yep.
actually get up and turn the knob. There wasn't no remotes yet. But yeah, so when it was my turn to watch, He-Man was the thing. Everybody wanted to be He-Man. As you as a kid, you didn't quite get all the jokes and then realize how corny it could be. But still the fact that you have this guy that seemed nerdy and aloof to everyone that had a power inside of him that he can call on is become this massive beast that he could take over the world. And that's what I always wanted to be, go ahead and sleep on me. But when I call on that power, a lot of power at Grayskull is on.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, so I said just grew up loving He-Man. Then of course, especially on Saturday morning cartoons, eventually that went away. And then to see the shows that came on. I know there was a few that came on Netflix, I believe. I didn't see, but I did catch the Revelations one. So I'm glad to talk about it because I got a whole lot on my chest.
That's perfect because we're going to talk about that, man. We definitely going to talk about it. And it's funny because you got me just by a couple of years. You and my brother are the same age. I'll say that. I'll reveal my age once the joint is off.
Okay.
But I'll say this. I grew up watching He-Man as well. And just like you said, he was very aloof and kind of, to me, a little corny. But the cool part about him was that he had that ability to call on pretty much the most power in the universe, as you know, hence the name, Masters in the Universe. And to me, that was just dope. And it was like, to myself, I would look at it as though okay, you're a black man who's pretty much being shunned and frowned upon by the rest of the world, and then when it's time for you to reveal who you are, everybody's like, oh my god, that's the power that you have beneath you, that's what you have going on.
Yeah.
What's up, B? So that's how I feel when I watch He-Man. And as you said, man, I got my thoughts on this joint. I definitely got my thoughts. We're gonna get into it. So before we go any further, D, what you sipping on, man?
Oh man, first and foremost, excuse me, man. You know how that traffic be coming from that 9 to 5. First of all, Mr. Claude, you know, I always got to put the Mr. in the front, but I'm gonna call you Claude anyway. Hey, thank you for hopping on, man. This is something that to us is we've been watching y'all from afar, the whole He-Man squad, and we just think that is just a beautiful thing that you could join us and talk about this, because we love some He-Man. I'm a big Man at Arms fan, to be honest, but you know what I mean, I'm still gonna show that love. But man, shout out to East Brother Brewing Company out here in Richmond, California. I got their Russian Imperial Stout. That's a 10% stout. It's a beautiful stout. Let's just keep it 100 with that. And then last but not least, I had to get there, which they didn't have any more in cans. I had to get their Baltic Porter, which is a 8.6% porter. This thing is fire too, but again, no can, so I had to get the 32 ounce growler to go. So yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm about to pour open this Baltic Porter. I'm excited to talk about Evil Lynn in this season 2, man. Evil Lynn, hands down to me, best character of the season 2, and we just gonna get it going from there.
That's perfect, man. That's a perfect segue. So since Claude said, you know what I mean, brother Claude said that he has a lot to get off his chest, so we always start off with this.
Yes.
Okay. What is your good, your bad, and your ugly? So I'm gonna start with the guest. What is your good with this season? What do you have to say good about this season?
The animation. That was really that's the animation's up. Well, it was there. I like that. The animation.
All right, that's cool. I got you.
He's like that's it. That's all.
Yeah. D, what you got?
Oh man, you know, like I said, man, Evil Lynn, man. I don't care what nobody say, man. It's probably again one of the best character arcs, because I remember reading He-Man, the novel, the book, and just how and one of the other good things is they introduced one of the characters that, you know, that always best Skeletor, and it's a villain as well. You know, I don't know if we're doing spoilers or not.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Spoiler. Oh yeah, but that was, to me, I was like, that's just a classic. That's a classic show. I mean, it's a classic He-Man. There's always, or any show, there's always another villain. There's always a bigger, badder person, and those are the two things, at least, that I liked about this season.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, and rampaging He-Man. You know what I mean? Berserk He-Man. Fire.
Pretty much like the Hulk. I can't remember what version of Hulk that is, but
yeah, that's just like the first. That's base level Hulk. That's base level Hulk.
Yeah, I rock with that. Well, here's my good. My good is actually they finally showcase He-Man's true power, and what I mean by that is, through the years we've been watching it as kids and stuff, and they always show just glimpses. You know, he might knock a couple people down, something like that. This time they actually showed him taking out the demons on there. They showed him fully going to battle with Skeletor, which they normally don't do. It's always a quick clash of swords, and that's pretty much it. Now they got into it on here, so I respected that. The animation was good. Storyline, a little off, but the animation was fire on there, and definitely I love the fact that they showed what He-Man was able to actually put out. That's my good on there. Now with that, we're gonna go right into the bad, because I want to hear what's your bad on this, and I'm gonna go with the guest, man. What you got? What's your bad on this one, bro?
The bad. Where was He-Man?
Okay.
When you think MOTU, the first thing that pops in your head is He-Man.
Yep.
And so I just felt misled, especially in part 1. So
okay,
that's just fine.
I like that.
Oh man, Claude, you should have checked. You definitely should have checked out the review we did with the first time we reviewed He-Man season 1, and I said He-Man is not important. Like, and that just I mean, I'm gonna say my bad was no, I'll say that for my ugly. I'm gonna say that my bad was just man, it's tough. I want to say I got a bad because it's really just stereotypical Mattel Masters of the Universe. I mean, I don't really have a. Oh, I got a bad. My bad is that He-Man and Berserker mode, our Savage He-Man, just didn't end up just taking Skeletor out. It was just raw power, and he could. And if for some reason it was just like punches and kicks, and it was no nothing, no broken face bone, no nothing. I mean, Skeletor was just taking them hits like, all right. Well, I guess we're gonna keep doing this, and this is boring. So I'm gonna. I mean, that'll be my bad. That'll definitely be my bad.
All right, so mine is the fact that, listen, after all that time, like we already know that eventually them two were able to butt heads. He-Man and Skeletor were able to fight. Why did He-Man run from that fade when he was in the castle? Why did he run from that fade, jump on the shield, and fly out of there? Like, what's going on with that? Then he called for backup and then went back over there and fought him. That right there was like corny as hell to me. So I definitely did not like that at all. Like, they was going at it. Here comes what was his name, Ram Man or something. He jumps in and he throws him a shield or whatever, and then He-Man dips off. I'm like, come on, man, you running from a fade right now, man. Take that L or get this W. What you gonna do? So I thought that was corny. But let's get into the worst part, man. I want to hear y'all ugly on this, man. I really want to know your thoughts on the ugly. Like, what did you really dislike on this one?
It was too much Mary Sue for me. It reminded me of the Brave from Star Wars. I mean, just and we'll get into it. I was just too much Mary Sue.
Okay,
I love it. He's
right to the point.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be a good episode. This is gonna be a great episode right here, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right,
for me,
what's your ugly?
Yeah, definitely for me, my ugly is gonna be just a relationship between the Sorceress and I already forgot her name already.
Teela.
Teela. Like, just the way that ended, it was like, oh, you did have a choice. You just didn't. You were so stuck in cult and tradition that you didn't think outside the box. It was like, it was kind of like, I was like, oh, so it's how most anime, because I know it's animated series, but how most anime is like in Japan, either like the dad is by himself with the child because the mom died, or vice versa. But this one is like an anime where you have like the wealthy parent who just like dipped on the kid, and the kid didn't even know the parent was wealthy. It's like this is how I took it with the Sorceress. It was like it took for Teela, it took all them generations for Teela to be like, I don't have to choose. You know, I'm not trying to give spoiler alerts, but that was my ugly. It was like, man, you just need an absentee parent out here. You know what I mean? Just keeping it 100.
Okay. Do you know what my ugly was on here? In addition to He-Man running from that fade, how the hell did they the king just immediately decide to move Andra up to lieutenant? Like, there was nobody else who deserved that position. There was nobody else who had earned that rank in his army. Oh, you know what? You saved my son, and you got his best friend back, which, you know, / girlfriend, if you want to call it that. I'm gonna move you up to lieutenant. Let's just go ahead and do that. Like, what's up with that, man? I thought that was corny as hell. That was another thing that I felt like there was holes in there that they thought it was going to look good, but to me, I was able to see the pieces that they were missing, and to me, that just really it didn't sit well with me. I do respect the fact that they had a sister on there, but it was just corny as hell, man. I was like, you're trying to placate to us, you know, the audience of people of color. And I got another question with that later on. So I'm gonna put a pin in this one, and I'm gonna hold that to later on one of my other questions. So let's move on to our next joint. What we got next? All right. So what are y'all thoughts on the voice actors? And we got some joints on there. I already know y'all know. We got some joints. What's your thoughts on the voice actors?
Yeah, I thought the voice acting was fine. You know, I know some people had some complaints about Mark Hamill. They say he sound a little bit too much like the Joker. But I mean, to me, I thought he sold it. I think he was the most acting of the bunch. I really believe Skeletor. But yeah, hands down, I think the voice acting was great across the board.
Okay, yeah. I like that. D, what's your thoughts?
Definitely, again, like I said, Evelyn, hands down. Cersei, her voice is like, she will be ever known as a tyrant. And I love the voice acting. I mean, Mark Hamill, he may have had like certain aspects to the Joker, what we heard from the 90s Batman the animated series, But reality is to me, back to Claw's point, is like man, when I say he hit Skeletor on the mark with the raspiness, and like he just really, when you think of Skeletor, you literally close your eyes and just listen to Mark Hamill speak as Skeletor. You're like, that's Skeletor. So I think the acting Man at Arms, the person that they picked for Man at Arms, and again, I'm a big, huge Man at Arms fan. I think he's really more relevant in this series, especially in season 1 and season 2 than He-Man, to Claw's point. Yeah, man, that was the voice acting was not a problem whatsoever. They picked an all-star cast and they all hit it on. The lip syncs were great. So I just was like, man, let's make it happen. Definitely good on the voice acting.
I like that answer because I was going to agree with you. I second both of y'all's opinion on Skeletor. Definitely Lena Headey, aka Cersei, aka Evil Lynn, aka Leonidas' wife on 300. I loved her, but I actually really enjoyed Man at Arms, Duncan, which is the knight from Game of Thrones, and I forgot his name, Sir something. He's from Game of Thrones. He was the guy that watched over the little girl who had the dragon scale. I can't remember his real name, but he pretty much hit the nail on the head for Man at Arms for me.
Oh, that was him? Oh,
yeah,
snap.
Yes, that was him. I can't think of his name, but he hit the nail on the head. I love Skeletor as well, specifically because it's Mark Hamill, and I have a bias because, I'm a Batman fanatic, so I love anything animated series Batman, and you talking him as the Joker, so I'm biased with that, so I love that. But definitely Man at Arms, he did his thing on that one, and I think that most people didn't realize that's who it was. So I got some other things I'm gonna put a pin in that too. I got something else I'm gonna add to that later on.
This man keep like, hold up, don't go.
I mean, it's gonna come together later on. Trust me, it's gonna come together.
I mean, does the audience know? Like, it's definitely special when people watch this on the playback. Like, man, we have a cosplay. I'm gonna call him a legend out here. Okay, he is one of 3. So I came on late, so I apologize. But I just want to give this man his flowers. Like, I wanted to give Demetrius, I want to give Michael. Like, these brothers really, like, when it comes to cosplay, we understand, especially when a lot of Black women talk about how people, especially white males and females too, will be like, this character isn't Black. And I love how He-Man, King Grayskull, was Black with dreads, and then Claw dresses, cosplay as that, and I'm like, oh, this is fire. This is lit. Like, this is exactly what we need, because again, Masters of the Universe, the power is not specifically to one person. It goes from whoever they deem as worthy. And I think with this cosplay trio that you have, this unit, it just shows like, man, y'all support one another in all aspects. And I just want to say, man, and not take too long of it, because I'll continue giving flowers later on. Is like, man, I appreciate y'all. Like, I'll be putting the amazing starry-eyed emojis and all that, because it's like, y'all need that, man. And I definitely want to go to a Comic-Con to support y'all as best as possible, man. So I'm working on that as well. So just know, man, like, we giving you flowers now. I want to let y'all know anytime, whatever it is y'all want to promote, or you or any individual person that comes to cosplay, man, just hit us up. We'll do a whole show. We'll do what we do right now. We'll talk about He-Man. We'll talk about whatever anime, whatever show you're on, anything that ties into you. We want to support you and let you know that you are valued to us in the community here at Black Nerd Fridays.
Facts. You said exactly what I wanted to say, and I really wanted to have him on, but I was going to save that segment as well at the end.
Oh, my bad.
You can't give all the flowers at the beginning. I had a quick conversation with the brother before we went on, but yes, you brothers embody these characters, and there is no, when you look at that, there is no specific color when you're looking at it in the first place, because you just look at, you're playing this character. I don't care about hearing, oh, well, that's a Black person. Nobody cares about that. We see you for that. That's a bonus for us. But we see you for the character. We don't care, oh, that's Black Man at Arms, or that's Black He-Man, or that's Black King Grayskull. Get out of here with all that. We see you for the character, and being Black is the bonus, period. So yeah, that's perfect, man. So
I don't know if it's going out of order, but I can tell you how that happened.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Let's drop the lower third.
When I had when everybody saw Demetrius on Hellspawn cosplay do He-Man, it's about broke the internet. So when I saw that, I told him offline on DM, I said, hey, I'm going to do an homage to your He-Man. And so I was getting ready, trying to get in shape, get the afro to do his version. And then when the Netflix came out and the comic book came out, someone had told Demetrius, hey, you should do the King Grayskull. And he said, hey, I know somebody who can do it. How about I have somebody else do that? And so Demetrius is the one who made that happen for me. He said, how about you do the King Grayskull? You already got the dreads. I was like, okay. And so, so I had to put away the afro and find a different emblem because he has a different emblem.
Yep.
But so if it wasn't for him, that wouldn't have been a King Grayskull. It would just been another homage to his He-Man. So I'm glad that he was able to put me on to actually give my version of and I laugh about it when people talk about He-Man's white. Well, this King Grayskull is not, and now it's canon. In the beginning, King Grayskull was white, but not no more. So I don't know.
Canon, baby. There we go. Yeah, you can.
And if y'all see my face, y'all couldn't. I was smiling the whole time because he was dropping gems and jewels, pretty much saying that the inspiration that we have when we pull from each other is what always funds us and always drives us to take the next step, or even do whatever it is we're pursuing in life. And those words were, it can't get no realer than that, pretty much. And shout out to Demetrius for that inspiration. And definitely, man, shout out to all three of y'all for doing what y'all do. For sure. Yeah. So here's my other question, and don't worry about my spelling. I messed that up after. So who should wield the sword of power? And I'm gonna start with my brother Claw right here. Who should
we just put him on the hot seat, man.
That's a good question.
From the series, man, not from
right. From the series, right? I'm always say it's hard. I mean, to me, I had to stick it to He-Man because I think if they had longer episodes, so someone could earn it. I think about it as being 5 episodes each, a total 10 for that season. So it's kind of hard to say if Teela should have it or someone else should have it. To me, it just wasn't enough time for it to be earned for someone else. That's why I think I had to still keep it with He-Man.
Okay, I like that answer. And from here on, I'm just gonna keep it like this, unless we dropping gems, and I'll put us on full.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
So D, what's your thoughts on that one?
Oh man, come on, man. You already know, man. I told you, I've been saying the character for forever, man. Evil Lynn should have had the sword of power from the jump. Squash through them bodies, Cersei, squash through them bodies. But no, I mean, I got Evil Lynn. I'm telling you, watch season 2. Like the art, to Claw's point, like Evil Lynn's character is even here on our backdrop. Evil Lynn with the sword of power is the boss's looking like she looked like it is action time, like hands down, wielding the power like it is nothing, like craziness. I mean, the only other person, honestly, from the series who I really wanted to have it and who I think is the best character, even in the He-Man mythos, or Master of the Universe mythos, to me, and that they gave him his just dues on this series, is Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms, hands down, could have kicked Skeletor's armies by himself. And that one, he was out there making cannons, and man, dude was a beast, bro. And then come on, season 2, like, come on, when the king was sitting there around and it was war, and this man said, he's like, I don't need that extra stuff. I got all I need, and I know where I need to be. And he stood by his friend's side, and they was going toe to toe. Like, if we die, we die together. I'm like, come on, the Man-at-Arms deserved that, bro. He deserved the power, man. They should have just threw him the sword just for like 30 seconds. Just to see what happened.
It's funny you said that because I agree with you. Based upon everything, all the characteristics he showed, to me, I feel like He-Man just got it because he's the prince, but and he has a pure heart. But in reality, I feel like he's not ready for it. All of the decisions that he makes throughout the series, it's like he's not ready to wield the power. He's not ready to have that authority or leadership role placed in front of him. He still has a lot of learning and maturing to do. And for someone who's, when you see him in the cartoon as kids, and even now, he doesn't have much fighting skills, which I'm kind of surprised that they showed some stuff without him having, the power imbued in him. But he doesn't have much fighting skills. Why would you give it to him? If anything, give it to the man who trains your army, which is Man-at-Arms, the man who has the leadership skills, which is Man-at-Arms, aka Duncan. And to me, that's who definitely should have it. Shout out to Evelyn for being next in line, because Evelyn, man, she's something else, man. She definitely had her thing going on, and just listening to her backstory really got me to understand why she did what she did. But Man-at-Arms definitely should be the one who held that sort of power. He-Man shouldn't have touched it until he's ready to really
well, it's not He-Man's, Prince Adam.
Yeah, Prince Adam.
Prince Adam just needs some years, man. He just needs he need to be in the trenches, like for real. You know what I mean? Like, he did that. With his pure heart, he stepped in there and was like, yo, I know this is not gonna happen, but it was more of a taunt to Skeletor, which I think again is like, don't do that. But
right,
it is what it is.
Right. No, I feel you. I definitely feel you on that one. All right. So, should He-Man and Skeletor have teamed up? And I'm gonna start with you, D.
Oh man, you ain't getting Claude in the hot seat.
Nah, I ain't getting Claude in this one.
Right. No, I mean, I think honestly, with that whole team up, it really was Prince Adam, like Skeletor, like literally, like, what are you really gonna do? We now have a common enemy. That you created this monster. I mean, you partially created this monster, and here we are. And I can't. I mean, he could have tried to do it by himself, but I think that it shows the beastiness of Evil Lynn and what she would do with power. And I think if you look at all the women in the show, which again I think people probably will critique in a negative way. But a lot of the women in the show, man, when it came to taking that power, are just going to what it is that they want. They just went for it, and they knew how to wield it. I mean, the Sorceress, Teela, after she learned, I mean, Evil Lynn, to me, like, it's just hands down. So I like the team up. I like how it made Skeletor, because Skeletor is an opportunist, and that's why, again, Mark Hamill's voice is so wellly scripted to put him as Skeletor, because Skeletor is always looking for the win, no matter what. He will work with anybody to get to his goal, and he will always have a contingency plan. And I know that's great for Mr. Refine, because he loves Batman with his damn contingency plans. So shout out to the team up.
Claude, what you got on that one?
I don't think they should have teamed up. I mean, I just don't think Skeletor can stay focused that long. One thing I like about Skeletor, once his mind is set, it's set.
Yeah.
And even if, Evil Lynn became what she became, he couldn't be focused. No, he still see opportunity to take out He-Man. That's always been his focus. And so that's why I said that. To me, I don't think it could have worked. That's kind of like some of the issues I had. I'm like, this just doesn't, because it said that this is a continuation.
Gotcha.
Now, if they would have actually rebooted it, fine. But he says it's a continuation. If it's a continuation, then no, this doesn't make sense. That's the issues I was having.
I could see that, but I also see the enemy of my enemy sort of thing. But at the same time, you're talking about two arch nemesis. And Skeletor, as you said, does not stay focused. His main goal all the time is to have the sword of power and to kill or take He-Man out of the picture. So once he had the opportunity to team up with him, I feel like he got kind of lost in the sauce and was just thrown to the wayside mentally, because his main focus was still, all right, let me take out He-Man. Once I get a chance, let me take him out. Forget we fighting Evil Lynn, who now has a sword of power. I'm trying to come at you. I'm trying to come at your neck now that she's preoccupied. So I think that it was more of a wasted opportunity, and more for Skeletor, it was a chance for him to get close to He-Man so he can take him out. But for He-Man, he was being genuine. So I feel like, why would you do that? And, Prince Adam should know better. I don't know why I keep saying He-Man. Prince Adam should know better than to team up with somebody like him, because he's not going to have your best interest at heart. He's going to have his best interest, which is to take you out. So that was kind of corny to me. I thought that was just something they threw together just to throw together.
No, but if you think about what you said, it does make sense. Like I said, Prince Adam has a pure heart.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, so it really does make sense. That's why Skeletor should have then, taken him out, because of his pure heart.
That's a fact.
I like that.
He should have took him out, but again, to your point with Skeletor and what Evelyn said in season 2 is like my favorite scene is where Skeletor shows Evelyn how the universe was created. And like he's looking at all this and moving everything around with the convergence of all the power and all this, the solar systems aligning and all that. And he literally is like, but I want to kill He-Man. And then she's like, you have all this power and like you still haven't done it. Even in season 1, which I'm gonna do spoiler alert for season 1 because season 1 was a minute ago. But season 1, like he literally stabs Prince Adam after getting the sword. Like I'm like, and you still couldn't end it. Like you knew about their heaven pre-Eternia. I mean, and you still didn't go wipe them out. And I was just like, that is, to Claw's point, that's classic Skeletor. But I just thought it would be better, at least from when I read the comic books, maybe because I was a kid and reading those novels and everything, is like Skeletor just seems so much scarier, even though in reality, if you watch the older cartoons, it's not really, it's more of a haha joke. But you like reading the comics, and I'm not saying the most recent comics, but just back then for me in the early 90s, Skeletor was like, yeah, I mean, when I get that chance, it's a wrap. And it's like, you got that chance and you still didn't do it, man. So I guess the team up was like, it was just kind of like, I still, even though I want to get rid of He-Man, I still want to have the most power. So I'll work with you, even though it doesn't mesh well with you me as a character or my whole drive. And then I'll turn around while everybody's fighting, and I'll be like, well, now that people, the most powerful one of us is preoccupied. Now it's between you and I, and let's duke it out while you're surrounded by all enemies. It was just kind of like, I guess. I mean, like, could that not have happened like at the end, you know what I mean, or something like that, where it was like a one-on-one type of situation, and it was no, you know, that I think the Claw's point too, and I'm sorry I keep going. I think the Claw's point, like, it was no tension as far as like, is this really gonna be, you know, over? Like, it's more like Skeletor was like similar to how Batman treats the Joker. Like the Joker kills hundreds of people all the time, and you're still like, oh, I can rehabilitate this person. And it's like, reality is no, you can't. And I would love for, even though that would have been very Batman, the Dark Knight-esque and all that, if He-Man really had to decide, like Skeletor is like, no, I'm never going to stop. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to have all the power, and the only way to stop me is if you kill me. It was not relevant in that sense. It was, I mean, I know it's a Mattel brand thing, but it was just like, this showed a lot of stuff that I was like, this is what we need to see out of He-Man, and I just didn't get that from Skeletor the way we would want him to have
it. That's a perfect way to end that. Perfect way. Okay, so what were your thoughts on the extra characters? And if you notice, I highlighted extra for a reason. What were your thoughts on those extra characters? Meaning, what was his name? Ram Man. I remember him when I was a kid. But you had people when they was in the sewers and they was trying to get into the castle. It was Duncan, Andra, and Teela. Yeah. Like, what's going on with these people here? You know what I mean? What's going on with these people? Why were they here? Why were they involved in this whole thing? It was a filler for like 2 minutes.
It's paying homage to all those characters where you were like the dude and from the Eternia army that had the claw, bro. That thing. Yes. I remember having that toy, and I was like, I don't understand why I thought this was the greatest thing ever. Dude, he literally has a claw for a hand, and he's just a buff dude with a claw. Like, come on, bro. Like, it was like to be funny. And then even like you said in the sewer with the two characters, there was like, wow, they're not even like, they're not A, B, or C, or even D class. Like, they're like the lowest on the totem pole. Like, if they walk right past them and could get away from them, they wouldn't even wasted their energy or time with them. They would just kept walking. Like, that to me was hilarious. So I definitely love how they threw those extra characters in there, because I remember just having those toys with the action grip with the claw, man. That's all I gotta say.
Right. Yeah.
So you agree with that, Claude? That you agree with that?
I mean, it's just fan service, if you remember them. No, like I just think to me the series was too short to throw them in there. It's just like, here you go. I don't know. I think it would have hit better if its season was longer. But no, just throwing them in there for fan service, if you remember them, because a lot of us like for when I did King Grayskull in MegaCon, Florida last year. I thought because the Netflix show was out, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this character. And like everybody who was younger had no idea who I was. And so I feel the same way with this. If you wasn't growing up, in the 80s or really watching, you had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think it was just fan service for those who recognize them.
Definitely.
I agree 100%. Both of y'all make valid points. It was kind of just waste of time. They're trying to again pay homage. They're trying to pay homage to us who grew up watching this stuff. And I don't remember everybody, but I do remember, I don't know his name, Claw Man, Lobster Man, something like that. Like something cheesy like that. But this other guy that was shooting little darts out of his hand, he never even existed from what I remember. Like, who is this person? It was too cheesy for me. And if you're going to pay homage, you have to make the season longer. You got to really get a plot going on to add these people. The only person that was extra to me that really got some respect was Beastman. That dude got respect for me. Like he was in there. He actually got a chance to shine and stuff like that. But as far as these other little people, they just, extras there, literally extras. They didn't have to be showed at all. Like it was mad corny. Just in my opinion.
He is Masters of the Universe is Mattel, man. Like I'm saying. Like
I don't even know if they was involved in this process. Be honest with you, because if you look at they'll normally show it in the credits, they'll show the production and all that stuff. I didn't see Mattel at all.
Mattel was
not necessarily Mattel signed off on it. So
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely because they own that IP. So
yeah,
they definitely not letting that go, man. Especially with Soul. I mean, I always call him Soul Man, but it's not Soul Man. The black He-Man.
We're gonna talk about him.
Oh, okay. Let me shut up.
We're gonna talk about that too. That's all gonna be later on. What's his name? Scare Glow or something like that. Some weak name like that. Just it was too corny to me, man. It was just too much going on. I wasn't pleased at all with that aspect of it. Okay, so were you surprised with Teela and her new abilities?
Yeah. Now we're going to the Mary Sue.
There you go.
So if we stick to the story, she, when she got her feelings hurt in season 1, that she was the only one who didn't know who He-Man was, and just said, you know what, I'm done with you guys, I quit. And she hated magic, and it reminded me of Rey in Star Wars. How she didn't even believe in it, and it took Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, years to master this, and she comes into something she didn't believe, and able to do all this stuff with the Force. And it's the same thing with Teela. She hated magic, and then all of a sudden she can just use it. And so I had a problem with it. So yeah, I was definitely surprised. Not surprised that, because I knew who she was related to, but to go from I hate this to now I'm a master of it, that's the problem.
D, what you think about that?
Hey man, I think I was like my wife I get, but no, I definitely when he said about Star Wars, like that was that's a whole nother gripe, but definitely I was like Teela needs some work. Like it would have been like you gotta at least it was to Claw's point, because it was only like a 5 series for each season. Everything just sped up really fast, so you didn't get that growth. That potential was there, but it was like, is it just that type of talent where it just take a little bit to do so? And I mean, I just yeah. I mean, I do like the ability when she was, again, my favorite another one of my favorite scenes. Like I choose both. You know what I mean? It's very corny, but I was like, I knew that was coming. Like it was like, how can you not choose both? Like how do you have all this power and you dipped in the pool of power? And you like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna make this decision. And it's like, but who telling you that? Like, who was your ancestor to tell you that you had to do it that way? You know what I mean? Like that whole lineage thing. It was like the lore could have been built up more. Because again, we know how He-Man, Masters of the Universe is. Like, it could be a fight outside. It could be a fight literally right next to the person who's trying to discover something, and it's like nobody really cares about the fight. It's only on that person, and that's exactly what was happening. So I was like, you could have took longer time. You could have made like 3 or 4 more episodes just on that, and just do a couple of He-Man jumping through and punching somebody type of thing, and kept it going. So I agree with Claude on that one.
And I agree with both of y'all too. And the funny thing is, I didn't know the history of Teela pertaining to specifically her mom.
Oh,
And
snap.
huh?
I said, oh snap! I didn't know you didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But even still, to Claude's point, it was corny, it was cheesy for someone to say, you know what, yeah, I don't like this, and then all of a sudden you fully take it in, and all of a sudden you want to have these abilities, and then as you said, you've mastered them to where you can manipulate pretty much time and space and universe and put yourself in these places and have somebody see something. It was a little too corny for there. It was cool that she was able to do that, but at the same time, it didn't make sense because how does someone who not believe into it all of a sudden be, oh yeah, this is what it is, I got it down, and now I'm the top of my game, including saying, you know what, my mother didn't do this, but guess what, I'm able to choose if I get to choose my family and friends and all that. Come on, man, that didn't even add up. So we all on the same page with that one. That again, that shit was corny as hell.
No consequences, man. No consequences.
Yeah, that was corny as hell, man. All right, so this is my last question, and then we just gonna, let it fly. What was your thoughts on the people of color representation in the series?
Man,
For silence on that one. Look,
no, I had to take myself off mute, and I was drinking. I had some beer. No, I mean, man, it's Masters of the Universe, man. Like to have King Grayskull, that to me, season 1 was like, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like when that happened, I was like, hey, I'm good. Everything else is all right. like the beginning, the first one to wield the power, King Grayskull. Like, I mean, done. Like, I think sometimes too, and it's not gonna be controversial, but I think some characters are sometimes when you're entering characters into a mythos that were not there before, and you're just adding this character in. That's kind of where people are like, really? Do we need to add that character in? I understand diversity, equity, and inclusion, but does that character need to be added? But for King, the funny thing is the flip side to what I just said is like, to Claude's point, King Grayskull, was he black before? No, but in canon he was. But the thing was that because he wasn't so prominent, and again, this is like that double-edged sword situation, because he wasn't so prominent in the series, I think he hit more, and he made more people who didn't like it upset, and people who were just like, oh yeah, I'm good, like myself, was like, yeah, it's King Grayskull, he was the first. Like no matter what, he was the first. So it's like you can say all that stuff like that, but he was the first. That's just what it is. So that's my
deeper than that, but I'm gonna let Claude go first.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, the represent. I mean, that to me, I think they tried to go there, then they pulled it back. So when you think about Teela, and I can't think of her name right now,
Andra.
Yeah, Andra. Because you saw in season 1 where they was going with it.
Yeah.
And so and then all of a sudden in season 2, like they backed away from it.
Yep.
If you're gonna go there, go there.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't get brownie points for bringing it up and then don't commit.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I thought that's one of the, like I said, whether you agree with it or not, if you're going to go there, go there. So the representation, I said they definitely went heavy on the women, you know, that, which is fine. I just kind of wish they would have told us that in the beginning.
Yeah,
you know, I just think it was you just got blindsided with it because you have an idea of who you ain't got to say the name. Master Universe, He-Man. His master thing is He-Man. You don't think of anyone else.
That's right.
It's like I say, so if you're going to go a different direction, just be upfront with it, and it allow us to see the representation better. I just think I just got blindsided because I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. So I might have missed what they were trying to do. Yeah. And so I caught it on the second part because okay, now that I know this is not really about He-Man, so now I got my mind is set differently to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I like that. But see, here's what I'm gonna go with it. Two things. We were talking about the ugly as far as them moving up to lieutenant, Andrea's lieutenant, and number 2, what was the guy? Scareglow. You had him in there. First off, we know who Scareglow is. Shout out to him. That's the voice of Candyman.
Exactly.
So shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing with that. I would love to have seen that be somebody with our actual skin tone and stuff. It was a skeleton creature that was dead. All good, but they did have his voice in there. Now, number two that I did have an issue with. Now, hold on, let me give my flowers too. They did show women in power, specifically Evelyn and even Teela and Andrew were holding it down. They showed all of them in a perfect representation that was great, that gave respect to them, etc. Now, my issue is Andrew. If you know who the person is that voices them, that looks like that's like Meghan Markle. You already know who Meghan Markle is. Now, when we think of black, that is the phenotypes that we have in our mind of what black is. The person who's voice acting for Andrew, that's not that looks like Meghan Markle. That's not black to me. That's just my opinion on it, based upon the phenotype, the hair, all that stuff. But she, says, yeah, I'm a multiracial person, which says what? You're saying a person of color, but you have a black woman who's, this character right here. So that was kind of odd to me. And then, add to my other point of the Scareglow thing, he was dope. But at the same time, I would love to have seen him get represented more. And definitely, you only gave a quick glimpse of, King Grayskull, and that was done in season 1. You had no other backstory. You had nothing else going on with them. And I feel like, again, as to Claw's point, if you're going to introduce that into the storyline, keep it going. Don't just cut it off and drop it. I feel like they try to cover it up by saying, okay, we got a sister on here now, and she's going to be the representation in this season, which was Andrea. Shout out to her, and even shout out to the person who's voice actor for her. But when I see that person, that doesn't present to me as a black woman. I'm just telling you on my, my appearances, etc. So I feel like they kind of were trying to, do the diversity, equity, inclusion, and all that, and it didn't hit the mark. That's just my opinion on it. So it's a whole lot of stuff they could have did better. And to me, this is why the series itself was kind of blah. And so that's a perfect segue to this next and last question. Would you like to see another season of the series?
It's already over.
We know that. We know that. But would you like to see another
season 3? Yeah,
season 3. Because actually, it was season 1 of 2 parts, so they could make a season 2. But
they got the new guy. I forgot that villain's name. The one that
the Motherboard.
He's not Motherboard. One like when he actually showed up, it was the other guy that looked like a skeleton kind of demon mix. I don't know if he was on She-Ra or not, but he is definitely one that is always trying to thwart Skeletor as far as and I forgot his name. But yeah, I think that the thing with this series, even though it's like season 1 part 2 to Claw's point, or season 2, how you want to take it, I think that with He-Man, it's a IP that they could do this. They literally can have maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons of this, and this could be Netflix ongoing thing for kids, or ongoing thing for people who want nostalgia. So do I want to see the third season? Not really, or the second season? Not really, but is it something that if it's on, I'll watch it? Yeah, I would.
Chloe,
just to see Evil Lynn again with the sword of power. I'm just saying. I'm gonna keep it 100. Evil Lynn held it down.
We need to talk about Evil Lynn.
We do. We will.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
No, but like as far as another season, I'm good.
But we already knew Claw was like that, man.
I mean, but like you said, if they bring another one, now if they were to go back and do solos. I said I would like to learn more about King Grayskull.
That's a fact.
Or these other ones. Yeah, then I would come back because I just felt shortchanged.
I like that answer, and I agree with you on that one. I'm with both of y'all, man. If it's out, I'll watch it if it's on. But am I searching for it? Nah. I do like the way that they ended it. Spoiler alert, with showing Skeletor just get took over. That Motherboard grabbed his ass up like, yeah, it's over for you. And he was like, no, pretty much this can't happen. Oh yeah, it can happen. See, while you was over there doing your old archaic stuff, you had a whole new thing taking over. You had a whole new leader taking shape and form behind the scenes. So it's over for you. So next season, he's getting manipulated. He's getting his ass whooped and controlled. And that's what I really want to see. But will I be like really searching for it? Nah, I'll pass. If it's on, it's on. If it's not, it is what it is. But
it's easy to consume. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that's
it. 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's easy to consume, and I think that Netflix will continue to do that because I think that for the people who are old school fans, like the the villain who's, again, I was trying to look up his name real quick without sounding how too much typing going on in the background. Like, that character is a part of the mythos, and so that character was present in comic books that I read, and it was always like, oh, Skeletor, you like second fiddle to me, and they were on their back and forth. But Mattel could easily keep this going, and this could be a Netflix continuing thing. I'm telling you, I can see another 4 or 5 seasons of this, no problem. Because before they did Masters of the Universe, they already had She-Ra, which was more animated 2D type of a situation on Netflix as well, and that was doing very well for the demographic that they were looking to have. So I think this one right here, even though, like I said, do I really care about it? No, if there's something else to watch, I'm gonna watch it instead of season 3. But they definitely can continue going on with this, man. And that's just one thing I love about what I'm learning about IPs is, like, when you got a good IP, Star Wars, He-Man, Power Rangers, like, I mean, when you have these IPs that you literally could continually force feed every new generation over and over again, like, to Claw's point, man, like, oh, we're gonna do, now that Eternia is gone, we're gonna go back and do a prequel starting from King Grayskull and go to every single person that wielded the power right up to Prince Adam. You know, I mean, like, it literally could be 5 episodes. Come on, man, 5 episodes. Like, we know anime and comics and things like that. Like, just to 5 episodes ain't holding up nothing. But 5 episodes, that's so easily consumable. Right. Man, it's a win, bro. And Mattel will probably push for it. To be honest, they're probably looking at the numbers now to see how well it did, or was it even, and well for them is like, did we get enough of our demographic to where they want to see another season, and can we put out a King Grayskull toy and go from there? And the answer to me is yes.
That's a fact. I really, really like that answer. And to add to that, I personally would like to see Thundercats. If you're gonna do something like that, like, let's call it what it is.
They did it, man. Cartoon Network.
Yeah, but they dropped the ball with it, and that drone was fire, in my opinion. But if you're gonna do something with it, like, do it. And to the other point, Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff, they have a niche, specifically Star Wars. That is a niche crowd. And I'm a Star Wars fan myself, but that's a niche crowd. Like, you talking about, man, my parents pretty much love Star Wars. My mom is the one I watched it with, but she says, no, I don't like Star Wars. But I've seen it with her originally. But, you know, it's a niche crowd. And now they're coming up with different things that they can, you know, show now for this generation. Now my kids are all into it and stuff like that. So to your point before, Mattel has a opportunity to take this, run with Eternia. They have a chance to run with King Grayskull. They have a chance to run with even just an Evil Lyn or Skeletor story and push that narrative too. So there's a lot of different opportunities with it. But if you're gonna do it, man, and you're gonna push to a certain demographic, you got to push to the real fans, not just people that's just here just because it's something new and that's on Netflix.
And if we're done with this question, I definitely I got to talk about Evil Lyn and Teela. I'm surprised you didn't put that as a question as far as talking.
No, I didn't. Talking about that was my last one, and this one I'm gonna say before we end.
Oh yeah, super quick. Go ahead.
Next week, Super Crooks, and I'm just gonna lead us up here. I'll put it back up before we end. We about to just
and again for everybody to know, this is the animated version of Jupiter's Legacy, which I enjoyed, and everybody else in the team was like, "This is trash," but this was great.
Jupiter's Legacy was trash, but Super Crooks,
it's from the side of the villains. Got it. But let's talk about. I mean, really, with Teela and Evil Lyn's, that whole thing of like, it to me, it was like a mixture of like atheism and like it's like a religion. It just tied in, and I love how Evil Lyn, like, she only watched half of the truth, and to me, you know, and I don't want to give any spoilers on that, but to me, like, that to me was more to Claw's point, because it was so focused, so woman heavy focused. It was like that conversation between Teela and Evil Lyn, where Evil Lyn went through all the trauma just because her parents were trying to eat her. Spoiler alert. Like, they were trying to eat her because they were so poor. And that, like, we're talking about, and I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I mean, you're going too deep. No, I'm not. We're talking to a point where people are so poor because of the way that the social structure is set up in the show and that flashback, that they were going to eat their only child.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Teela, who sees with Skeletor how the universe was created. And I still wanted to ask y'all too, like, I didn't know if the goat was supposed to be God. I didn't know if I assume the eagle was supposed to be God, but I was like, then what's the goat then? Like, what's the goat and the snakes? What are they supposed to represent in that sense? But I was just like, this whole aspect of what Teela and Evil Lynn talked about is like, you didn't watch everything. You only saw destruction, but you didn't see rebirth. And I think that's, to me, that just hit heavy as far as like, damn, like, yeah, sometimes we look away because something is so like traumatizing to us, because it's like we think something should have some meaning to what it is that we're struggling for or whatever. And sometimes it may or may not, but there's always just continuation. There's always within the struggle, there's beauty in the struggle. Shout out to J. Cole and his verse. You know what I mean? It's just, I love that. That to me, that was one of my fun parts on top of Evil Lynn's transformation. Because like I said, I keep saying this, Evil Lynn's transformation, Skeletor was looking fire, but Evil Lynn, when she transformed, I was like, bro, I'm really playing an RPG right now. She's the final boss.
Right. It's funny you say that, because I agree with you and this is why I said they can have kind of like a their own little side story of just Evil Lynn. And I'm gonna relate that to just us as a people, or even myself, right? You see, she grew up rough and she ran off because her parents wanted to eat her. But the bad part is, all she's thinking about is the negativity. Imagine if she were to take some of the positive that came with it and were able to transform that to make her be a better person. Because let's just say, for myself, seeing the things I've seen, or growing up the way I grew up, and I stuck with that mind state of, okay, all this negative stuff, all these things are happening, but didn't see any of the beauty, didn't have any of the good things that I've seen in my life. And I let that negativity change me or make me become that bad or that quote unquote evil person as an adult. That would be definitely a tragedy. And in Evil Lynn's case, that was what happened until she got her eyes open up to this person who's now awoke, which is Teela. Oh, it's all about the power and all this stuff. Like, come on, now you're woke. But they definitely did themselves a disservice by not explaining who the snake and the goat was, because I understood that the hawk or eagle was supposed to represent God.
Right.
And that right there was dope within itself. But still, you're letting that one specific issue where, okay, my parents had this going on, then I grew up rough, but you didn't see no beauty at all around you, zero. And now you had to get your eyes opened by somebody who's always had good things in their life. She's the daughter of the general of the army, pretty much. You always have good things. So I thought that was kind of corny, but it was definitely deep. And I think that if they really, really were trying to get to their real fans, they would have played upon that and made something with it. And I hope
tied in He-Man's, to Claw's point, but I'm gonna shut up and let Claw talk. But tie in He-Man to some aspect of that, because it's Masters of the Universe.
Right. My issue is we're gonna think about Evil Lynn and Teela. What happened to beauty and femininity? And it's about to understand that. So we're trying to say we're pushing women. This is about women focus, but you made them manly. And so you're telling women that they can't be who they are unless they have to be like a man. So when they got powered up, well, Teela was already beast mode. And then you look at that once Evil Lynn got the sword, now she got an 8-pack, and all of a sudden her hair is gone, and
she was like, "Oh, her chest was buff."
And to me, that took me out of it, because we see women now who, with their beauty, can cause wars or cause men to fall. And I think you took that, you robbed women of that. They don't have to become to look like us to be powerful. They're already doing that now.
That's
and
a fact.
I think that's where the show robbed them of that. They didn't have to be all bulky to be who they are. I hope this ain't. My friend told me. I hope I can say this.
Drop it. We unfiltered here, like Roland Martin.
He told me that when it comes to women, it's something about the split. That is something about that split that causes wars, that causes men to fight and murder. It is true. It's something about women in that split that make men do things. And I think that this show took all that away. You want power, you got to be a man. You got to look manly. You got to look like that. And I just think that was unfair to women. No, take what you have. Use your grace. Use femininity to take over the world.
And what ties into what you just said was Beastman was mentioning that to Evil Lynn, and so was Teela and the rest of the gang. You don't have to be him, or you don't have to be one track minded. And I think that's the thing that women hold over, or the female aspect of our species holds over us as males, is that they got to look at, like, when we're talking about tied in the universe, spirituality, whatever, like you give birth, all these things like that, but they're able to and I'm not saying multitask, they're able to look at things at a different perspective than we do. We look at A through Z, and even when we look at A through Z, a lot of times we'd be wrong about A through Z too, because we'd be thinking about everything else out of there. So I do get your point where you're coming from in that aspect, because that was talked about quite a bit with Teela, and it was talked about with Beastman. Beastman was definitely attempting to get her to just be her, and like to not be underneath this man and become him because of whatever aspect that have wrong in her life. So I agree to that, Claude. Hands down.
And that's perfect, because that's exactly the point when you talk about us as a trio of Black Nerd Fridays. Suds, her femininity, her beauty, her perspective alone is just, that's something that's unmatched. That's something that we don't have. So when she gives her points, her opinion on things, that's a perspective that a lot of times people like, oh shoot, I ain't thinking about that.
Exactly.
That's needed. That's really, really needed. That's like if I go to my wife for something, like I'll make a decision on something, she's like, no, I think we might do this instead. And I'm a very smart individual, but it's always good to have that, maybe that softer or that gentler side, or that different approach to the way you might handle things. And the way that they manipulated this to feel like, oh, as Claude said, you have to be manly, you have to become this way. They didn't have to make Evelyn look like that. They could have made her look even more seductive, if anything, but still have all this power, because through most lore and fantasy and mythological stories and stuff like that we read, they make these sorceresses very, very seductive and beautiful looking. They don't make him look manly and
Witcher.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point. Case in point.
I'm still gonna say Evil Lynn still look like a goddamn boss. All right, she was like boss. I mean, seriously, I just was like, when Evil Lynn transformed, when she was like, I had a power, I was like, everybody
fetishizing Evil Lynn over here.
No. I'm just saying, everybody else, the cape, come on, bro. And it was just like, because she was like, oh yeah, I know how to use this. And I think that's another thing too with the savage He-Man was like, finally, man, you up here just going after Skeletor, and was like, I'm about to just end this. I'm about to finish it. And it wasn't doing anything, but it was like, it wasn't being kindly to Claw's point. Like, yeah, you had a good heart, but Skeletor ain't good at heart. He's an opportunist, and he wants what he wants. And that's what I like about Skeletor too. Is like any character that's like, and Skeletor, they didn't get into his backstory too much, because I said this about season 1 when we did the review, is that to me, Prince Adam didn't ask questions about this power. He just got it because being pure heart. But Skeletor knew things about Grayskull that wasn't just a castle. It was more so like a citadel type of situation. And he knew a whole thing because he studied. He was like, I'm after something and I'm going to research it 100%. And it's like, you just got to give characters like that their kudos. And I think for Evil Lynn, if they did make her more seductive, it actually, in that sense of like, she still could have been like strong, but it's like she did bulk out. But that's what I think, that's just what the power does. And that's funny too, to your point, is like, it also separated, like, if you want to be a sorceress and you don't get the power, then you can be feminine. But if you get the power, it's just raw strength. And so you're going to become bulky. I mean, even I think about Encante, if I said that correctly. Encanto, thank you. The Disney movie that came out. Everybody loves the character.
I've heard and watched like 10 times already.
Yeah, exactly. My daughter loves that movie. But like the daughter that got the strength gift, she was just like, okay, when I feel weak. And it was like, dang, they never even played on to that. Or what does that mean to feel weak? Because you're not physically strong. And so, I completely understand where you're coming from. And it's just like, you got to give nuance, because a lot of times I think people hear stuff like that and they're like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Women can't go after? No. not saying that.
Yeah, because you already know you got the Marvel fans that immediately the first thing they're gonna say is, "What about the Dora Laundry?" They're gonna throw that in there.
Yeah, well, the
And them
Dora Laundry is
sisters
still seductive, man, with that bald head, man.
Right.
Yeah.
They wasn't
Exactly.
they wasn't cock diesel either. They was
Yeah, they was
but they got
they was
it.
like
They
Claude,
got
man. They had the rips, you know what I mean?
That's what I was saying.
This
They
man
have that
he's
tone
ripped.
to them.
He
They
got
have
muscle.
that muscular physique to them, but they still have that femininity, as,
Right,
as you see.
right.
So they could have played better with that in this series, and it just goes to everything else that's going on. There's subtle things and symbolism that they add in there to see if you catch. And I feel like they was trying to throw something in there to see, well, if you want to be strong, you got to be manly. If you want to be strong as a woman, you have to be manly. And you don't. You really don't. I have a daughter, and that's one of the things that I try to instill in her. It's okay to ask for help for this, but you can still be strong in your own way, because you may not have the physical strength that I do, but you have the mental, and you have a different outlook and perspective that I don't have on this world.
Right. Man, that's one of the best ways in it, man. Women's mental strength is way surpassed, and I'm gonna say it way surpassed than a lot of us men are males, and it's like and it's shown, and it ain't just me talking, it's shown throughout history, especially Black women. All right, and that's a fact, because it's just, man, different world, couldn't imagine. So shout out to all the women and shout out to the Black women. But I'm done now, because we hit past the hour mark. We can keep going for another hour and a half, but
we're gonna give him his flowers real quick before we end, and we're gonna talk off camera. So again, we are honored to have you on here for real, because it's not a stage for us. It's not a place for us. It's not a platform for us unless you go on the Comic-Cons and stuff. And even still, it's different, because again, when you go in there, what do you get? Oh, that's the Black this, or that's the Black that. X all that out. And we see the work that you do. Our platform is based to have brothers and sisters who have the same mind state as us, who want the same things we do, and are into anime, sci-fi, and all that stuff. And they want to do that without having this caption, this label put on them. Just be yourselves and be into whatever it is that you into, but showing your talents and your gifts by being, whether it be King Grayskull, whether it be someone from My Hero Academia, whatever it is, do that. And we are here to be that voice, to be that place that you can be comfortable being yourself and still being us, without having that, oh yeah, you the Black so and so and so. So yo, shout out to you, salute to you for doing what you do. We really appreciate it, and we mean it, because again, it's not a lot of us, man. It's not a lot of us, but it's a lot of us.
It's a fact. We deep.
I definitely appreciate that. Like I said, I've only been doing it since 2018. Just getting started, and the love, from you and from others. It's nice to know that you are touching people. Like, you always got the negativity everywhere, but it's just good to know that you are appealing to somebody. And I tell people all the time, you are a role model whether you like it or not. And you don't get to choose who you're the role model of. They choose, and you never know who's looking at you. So you have to be conscious of what you're doing.
Facts. I love that. Before we leave, do you plug anything that you want to plug in before we get out of here? Anything you want to plug in before you get out of here?
Oh, BlackNerdFridays, of course.
Okay.
Appreciate you, brother.
I definitely love this. I'm glad that I accepted this. I'm glad you guys invited me on. This probably has to be one of the most funnest podcasts I've done. If not,
really? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's because you're among your people. We just talking. This is what we do. And listen, if you have anything in the future, I don't care what it is you're involved in. If you want to have something to plug and say, yo, listen, I'm doing this. Can you guys help me promote this? No questions asked. We got it. But all right, we're talking about this week. We're bringing you on, though, because we're going to showcase whatever it is, because we're looking to have that community with each other that shows that love for us, by us, period. And that's what it is.
It's a fact, man.
So again, y'all, this is next week's episode. Super Crooks, make sure y'all show up for this. We probably gonna get real crazy on this one. I ain't gonna hold
Super Crooks.
It's gonna be crazy as hell, and we'll see y'all next Friday, always on Black Nerd Fridays. Until then, peace, y'all.